It is now my great honor to welcome Jessika Roswall, European Commissioner for Environment, Water Resilience, and a Competitive Circular Economy to the Global Solutions Summit. Commissioner Roswall plays a key role in Europe's efforts to protect nature and build a more sustainable, more resilient economy, so we keep course with the goal set in the European Green Deal. She is a very strong advocate that nature must be treated as something truly valuable, something that actually belongs on the balance sheet, such as factories, such as financial assets or infrastructure. At the Global Solutions Initiative, we share this belief wholeheartedly, and we have a whole program working in the exact same direction with our Human Flourishing program. I'm not very much looking forward to Commissioner Roswall's perspectives and ideas, how we can achieve a nature-positive economy, and how European and global initiatives drive this crucial endeavor. Please join me in warmly welcoming EU Commissioner Jessika Roswall.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very, very happy to be here today at the Global Solutions Summit to discuss how we can bridge divides and create new pathway for global prosperity. I think back over my lifetime, the challenges have rarely been bigger. Threats of war and insecurity are leaving many countries no choice but rearm. Climate change and nature degradation are affecting livelihood across the world. And maybe worst, at a moment when we need common engagement and collective global action, we face disinformation, tit-for-tat trade policies, and attempt to undermine international fora. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a moment of existential challenges that cooperation among countries in European Union and with others have often been at its very best. After the fall of the wall here in Berlin, we almost doubled our membership, integrated 12 new member states with 100 million citizens. As the pandemic was at its worst, we got together to overcome it. When Russia attacked Ukraine, we stood together and provided support. And this support continues, and now unpredictable tariffs of the US administration are shaking the world and the EU. We, the EU, has a big responsibility to stand together and show unity and leadership. With a single market of 450 million consumers and 25 million businesses, a tested system of common rule of law, strong institutions that enable cooperation beyond national borders and political differences, we have the possibilities. And there could be no more important moment for all of us to act, to innovate, to strengthen ties and common projects between those willing to cooperate and show openness to the world. We intend to seize the moment. We have set out a way to boost our competitiveness based on decarbonization, economic and environmental resilience, and international cooperation rather than against these values. But we, too, need to be innovative, to be open to new ideas, and we need to simplify things here where we can. Let me set out today one very concrete example, nature finance. Stopping and reversing nature degradation is one of the big challenges of our time. In just a few decades, wildlife has collapsed by 70% in Europe. Melting glaciers could prevent food and water supplies to 2 billion people. Already today, Europe is the fastest heating continent in the world. Spain is at 74% desertification, and Italy has seen an increase of extreme weather events by nearly 500% in the last decade. Here in Germany, the year has started with an extraordinary lack of rain, which leaves farmers fear for the harvest. More and more of this affects our citizens and businesses in a significant way. farmers seeing yields reduced because pollinators are missing, local communities are cut off from water supplies, power plants and inland water shipping are disrupted because of rivers running dry. We need a fundamental rethink of the relationship between our economy and the natural world. All of us has grown up with the idea that the nature is invaluable. Waking up at the songs of birds, drinking water from a mountain spring, staring at the endless blue of the sea, of the ocean. How can you possibly put a price tag on any of this? Well, we do put price tag on nature. Every second, every day, but only by taking resources away from the natural environment. You can get rich by taking fossil fuels out of the ground, but you will certainly not get rich by putting carbon back into the ground. You can make good money of raising a forest to the ground, but not by planting a new one and letting the old one grow. Farmers are able to earn a living if they use more land and cultivate it as intensively as possible, but maybe not so much if they leave land fallow, let wild plants flower and birds breed. In other words, we are putting a price tag on degradation of our natural environment. Now we need a price tag for restoring it. Or in the words of President von der Leyen, we need to put nature on the balance sheet. Nature is a public good and public authorities have a responsibility to fund its restoration. The EU has committed to spend 10% of its current budget between 2021 and 2027 on biodiversity. We will continue to compensate farmers who provide ecosystem services, for example, by preserving habitats for our birds. But given the scale of the financing that we need, public funding will not be enough. That too is the part of the international consensus. At the same time, we are seeing an increased interest from farmers, foresters, and nature conservatories to bring in external investments. Businesses and investors want to take action and contribute to nature financing. They all see the opportunity to create new win-wins. This is where nature credits comes into play. By converting nature-positive actions in exchangeable assets, nature credits offers revenues to those who take nature-positive actions. And by purchasing these credits, companies make sure that ecosystems enhance their capacity to provide wealth and services they can benefit from. Diversified crops, clean water, cooling functions, and endless source of inspiration for nature-based solutions. 20 years of experience with carbon credits show that we can create a market for restoring our planet. So, can we build on that experience to develop nature credits while being aware that those are two different pairs of shoes? I think we can, but we will need to address at least three important challenges. The first question is about quantifying nature. How do we measure and compare biodiversity? 1 ton of carbon equals a ton of carbon. But how can fish compare with butterflies, oaks with meadows? Well, actually there is a lot of research in this, and we already make use of advanced technologies such as noise sensors, drones and satellite imagery to assess the abundance of species or forest cover density in a single hectare. More importantly, we can also monitor the evolution over time. Work is already ongoing at the United Nations and in the European Commission to define a global standard for nature credits, because these have to be true nature credits that leaves no room for greenwashing. Robust measuring is an essential first step to develop this evolving market. Secondly, we need to create an infrastructure so that exchanging these credits in a valuable way can be done at the marketplace. To compensate farmers for extra cost of sustainability, but also to incentivize those who are willing to go the extra mile. Imagine an agri-food corporate paying surrounding farmers to put in place agroecological practices, to benefit from more variety in farming products with almost no transport costs, I mean, imagine IT companies paying for the restoration of peatlands to benefit from increased and reliable sources of fresh water to cool down their data centers. But this, ladies and gentlemen, is not a vision, it's already happening. There are many schemes and projects around Europe and the globe. We are working intensely with our member states on some of these pilot projects. In Estonia, a voluntary market is under construction, so private forest owners get rewarded for sustainable management and their parcels by companies who benefit from healthier forest, from touristic operators to energy-intensive companies. In France, an initiative has been launched for wetland across the Seine River basin. By greening their practices, farmers reduce the discharge of pollutants into rivers and the water quality improves. This means reduced costs for water users. Thirdly, and most importantly, there is no market without money and those willing to pay and invest on an ongoing basis. In other words, there will need to be enough demand to buy nature credits and sustain the market. That you can answer. Can we probably also reward those who are willing to reward to restore biodiversity? Well, we need to have examined specific use one by one. But what makes me most optimistic is that there is a clear economic case for preserving and restoring nature. An economic case that prudent investors and smart entrepreneurs apply every day. You must preserve your capital, for it is to continue providing returns. In the euro area, 75% of all businesses seeking loans directly depend on one or more ecosystem services. Facing increased threats from biodiversity loss, extreme weather events, and radical changes of ecosystem due to climate change, many companies have to pay higher risk premiums. Some activities cannot be covered by insurance policies anymore. So, restoring nature is not only good for birds and bees, but also to reduce costs for economic activities. Ladies and gentlemen, in at least one way, the market for nature which we are aiming to develop are no different from traditional markets. All markets are complex networks that would not exist without buyers willing to invest, sellers offering their products, and traders, marketplaces, and rules which makes them meet. So, to develop nature credits, we need to bring together different stakeholders and make their mind meet. As the European Commission, we will do what we can to encourage to facilitate this in a simple way as possible without creating unnecessary administrative burdens that would reduce the business case for nature credits. A common understanding of the matter and clear objectives where to go for help. I will intend to soon set out the next steps of nature credits. On that basis, together also with my fellow commissioners, we will set out the work with farmers and foresters, businesses and civil society, banks and institutional investors. And we will also work closer with our international partners because nature finance is a global challenge. To conclude, our ecosystem has gone off balance because of human action, but this balance can be restored. Recovery is possible, but we need the spirit of innovators and problem solvers and a strong support of sense of cooperation. All these values are very present here in the Global Solution Summit, and this makes me very optimistic about the future of nature credits. Thank you very much for your attention.
If I could shake your hand, and I would just want people here to be aware of what we have just heard is of historic importance. The future of capitalism depends on what you have said, because as long as capitalism is based on the destruction of our environment, there is no future of it. But through nature credits and instruments that push in that direction, profits, the pursuit of profit, can become a force for the good. And we're very grateful to you for your words of wisdom. Thank you, and we will take them to heart. Thank you.